Happy Friday, everybody, and it is a Masters Friday, which is why I'm wearing my azalea-colored shirt, if you will. But we're not here to talk about golf, although you might be paying attention to it while you're watching this. We're here to talk some NBA because, of course, I am Noops, and I'm here to talk some hoops. Brought to you by the fine folks at FTN. I'm here to help you through all the games on just an unbelievably messy NBA slate. Of course, if you haven't already, be sure you sign up for FTN. Tons of great data, tools, content, bets from really sharp bettors. And of course, you get into the FTN Bets Discord, a really great community full of people. Again, access to all the handicappers. I'm floating around in there, happy to answer any questions you have. And some really sharp people just as members. Again, some really good ideas. I learn a lot from that group and really find a lot of good bets anyway, and you can too. So get signed up for FTN as fast as you can. There's a little discount code scrolling down there at the bottom. But as I said, I'm here to talk NBA basketball. We've got 15 games. That's right, 15 games tonight, 15 more on Sunday. That means everybody plays both days, and then we are done. The 82-game marathon is over. We have a lot to cover. We've got a handful of games with teams that are good and trying their best, a bunch of games with good teams that are trying to win against bad teams that have nothing to play for, and several games that are frankly just going to be unmitigated disasters. But before we jump into it, please give me a thumbs up here on this video and subscribe to this channel. You get a lot of great free content. Again, Mean Streets is on here, several other really good shows from the folks at FTN. Just a great time of year. Plenty of sports. Baseball is rolling. We're heading into the NBA playoffs, as you know. Hockey playoffs are coming soon. The Olympics will be here before you even know it. So let's get into the games. Again, 15, 2 games I have bets in, and the other 13 I'll walk through in Not for Noops, where I just try to help you understand what I expect from each game, why I'm betting it, why I'm not betting it, of course, and maybe just give you a bit of the lay of the land. But let's get started with actual bets and games that I like. And we'll start with the Indiana Pacers. Go to visiting the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs, 3-point favorites with a total of 232.5. Should be an interesting game, but I think the market is the wrong team favorite here. The Cleveland Cavaliers have really struggled over the last 20, 25 games. They're below 500 in that stretch, and you can see when they play, the lineups just aren't working. For whatever reason, playing Jared Allen and Evan Mobley together last year worked. It is not going well this season. There is just not enough space on the floor. Mobley becoming a better and more willing three-point shooter, but still not good enough to draw the defense out to create space. Jared Allen, not a good shooter. So again, when both of them are on the floor, the defense knows it has a couple guys that it can leave open on the perimeter to help on Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and some of the other scorers on this team. It's been really rough for them, and I don't expect it to get any better tonight because I like the Pacers. I have Indiana favored in this game. They have the 4th best net rating since the All-Star break, the 2nd best offense, and they are 19th in defense. But that's a huge improvement from 26th where they started the year. This offense is so good. All they need is the defense to be close to average to win a lot of basketball games, and that's what they're doing. Indiana is in an absolute dogfight to hold on to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, which would keep them out of the play-in tournament. But at the same time, the Cavaliers are in a tough fight. They've been 2nd or 3rd in the East pretty much all season. If they lose this game tonight, they're in danger of dropping all the way down to 6th, even 7th themselves. It's just a really precarious spot. A lot of pressure on Cleveland here. A lot of opportunity for Indiana, who has looked really good. Tyrese Halliburton continues to look better every single game as he tries to play through that hamstring injury into the postseason. Pascal Siakam has been a perfect fit. Goes very well next to Miles Turner as a power forward and does well as a small ball center. He's really been the key to, I think, improving their defense. Overall, Indiana's been much better. I think they're the better team tonight. I have them as 1-point favorites. You can take the +3 if you like. I'm going money line. Give me the Pacers plus 120. The next game tonight, the Denver Nuggets hold a 1-game lead on the number 1 seed in the Western Conference and go to visit the San Antonio Spurs. The Nuggets 10.5-point favorites. The total sits at 222.5. Denver is going to win the championship. I've said it all year. I'm going to continue saying it. I'm sure, of course, that won't jinx me and all the great bets that we have on the Nuggets to win the title. They just look like the best team. They're healthy tonight. If they win tonight and win on Sunday in Memphis, again, they'll be huge favorites in both games. They lock up the number 1 seed and home court advantage throughout the playoffs. That's really important for Denver. As I'm sure you know by now, the Mile High City is at altitude. The air is thin. It plays very well into their style of play and makes it tough for opponents. But can they win this game tonight? Absolutely. I'm almost positive they will. I'm not saying you should bet on them at whatever the absurd price is, but can they win by double digits? Mike Malone last year and this year has made it clear that he understands the value of resting his players and keeping them fresh for the playoffs. They can win this game tonight, build up a big lead in the first couple quarters, even in the third quarter, and basically kind of rest everybody for the fourth, leaving the back door wide open for the San Antonio Spurs. The market downgraded San Antonio in a fairly significant way once Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and Jeremy Sohan were shut down. Makes perfect sense. There's not really many NBA quality players left on this team besides Victor Wembanyama, of course, Trey Jones, Zach Collins, maybe a couple other guys, but that Wemby dude is really the key to this. The San Antonio Spurs have been fantastic against the spread. I just want to double check the numbers so I get it right here. Over the last handful of games, they are covering. They're 17-8 against the spread in their last 25, 7-3 in their last 10, and almost all those losses came in games where Wembanyama wasn't playing. He's truly astounding. He's even better than I think anyone expected. He is constantly confounding opponents. I have never seen so many players turn around and look at him and try to figure out, how did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be able to move that quickly to be able to block this shot. He's passing well. He's dribbling. He's shooting. He's doing everything offensively. Probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year, or who knows, for the next couple seasons, even though he's not going to win this year. And I think really just him alone, combined with what I'm expecting from Denver, is enough to keep this game to single digits. So give me the Spurs plus 10.5. I make the Nuggets just 7.5, 7-point favorites in this spot. And again, expect them to slow down. Even if they have a big lead, I think this is going to be a close game. Should be fun to watch. Last time Wemby played Jokic, it was great. Should be great again. Bet on the Spurs. They're going to lose, but by less than 10. Now, let's go through all the other games. Again, I'm not betting these games. We've got 13 to go through. Just want to try to help you in case you're trying to think of something for the game. You've run your own model. Again, maybe you've used the tools at FTN and you've come up with kind of your own numbers here and you're wondering what to do. So let me try to help you out, let you know what I think. And again, if you're trying to build your own model, there's no better place to start than FTN. A lot of great data there and a good base model to work with right away. Sign up. You can see a discount code there at the bottom. Let's get to the rest of the games. The Orlando Magic visit my Philadelphia 76ers. I say that with a smile on my face. I'm back, baby. They've sucked me back in. I'm irrationally confident and think they could be the scariest team in the Eastern Conference. The Sixers, 7.5-point favorites, the total of 212. Joel Embiid is listed as questionable, but I expect him to play. The Sixers have to basically win tonight and Sunday to give themselves a chance to get up to the 6th seed, maybe even the 5th seed, and avoid the play-in tournament, which would be great. Being 6th would be fantastic. Again, they wouldn't have to be in the play-in tournament. It gives them an extra couple days of rest on top of the fact that they would be away from Boston. Boston's the 1 seed. They play the winner of the 4-5. If Philadelphia can finish, again, 6th, even 7th, that puts them in a position where they don't have to play Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals. This should be a great game. Orlando has Franz Wagner listed as questionable. If he can play, the spread should be a little bit closer. If he's out, it should be a little bit bigger. But I think the market's pretty much dead on here. Should be a fun game to watch, but I can't advise you bet it. I really just don't see value either way. Again, once we know whether Wagner is playing, maybe this moves into position where there's some value. If there is, I'll post that in the FTN Bets Discord. So make sure you're in there to see that bet if and when I place it. Now, I mentioned certain games were unmitigated disasters. I present to you the Washington Wizards, who are 2-point favorites against the Chicago Bulls. I promise you, I double-checked that number a bunch of times. That is correct. The Wizards are the betting favorite in an NBA basketball game in the year 2024. It is just a mess. Really, what's happening here is Chicago has locked up the 9th seed. They have nothing to play for here. Just about everybody is out, doubtful, or questionable except Kobe White. It's going to be a mess of a game for the Bulls. We have no idea how to handicap this game. We've got players that rarely play and never play in really the roles that they're going to have tonight. I don't know how to handicap the Bulls, and I'm definitely not betting the Wizards as favorites. So let's move on to another game that's kind of messy, but at least one of these teams is trying. The Brooklyn Nets go to Madison Square Garden to play the Knicks. The Knicks 11-point favorites with a total of 212. The Knicks, generally a bad team, the second night of back-to-backs. You're down about 4, almost 5 units betting the Knicks on the second night of a back-to-back. Again, games without any rest. But normally Thibodeau pushes them hard in the first game. That's not the case. Jalen Brunson sat the entire fourth quarter. Josh Hart didn't play big minutes. Neither did OG Anunoby. They should be fresh tonight. And even if they're not, they're much better than this Brooklyn team. But as some of you may remember, I don't bet Nets games anymore this season. This team is a mess. They have a lot of athletes. They have depth, but they have not cared all season. Their coach gets canned at the All-Star break. They come out even flatter with the new coach, basically. They have no reason to win games because they can't make the playoffs. They have no reason to lose games because they don't even own their own draft pick to tank for. It's just a complete unknown. I'm happy to let this one go. I do think the Knicks probably beat the pants off of them, but I'm certainly not betting on it, and I don't think you should either. Charlotte, they go to Boston to play a Celtics team that has nothing to play for. The Celtics still 7.5-point favorites, the total 218. Boston has everybody questionable. Kristaps Porzingis, the Jays, Jason and Jalen, they're questionable. Derek White, he actually isn't, but Jrue Holiday is. Who knows who's going to play for Boston? If they have even a couple of those guys, though, they're the much better team tonight, deserve to be favored, even though they seemingly don't care. They played everyone yesterday against the Knicks, got crushed basically by New York, even though the final margin of victory wasn't that big. The fourth quarter, basically everybody quit. Charlotte, for whatever reason, is still pushing to win games. They foolishly won their last game, which put them at fourth worst record in the league. That takes them out of the bottom three teams having the best chance for the number one draft pick. I don't know what to do with this game. I have no idea how to make a line for this. We don't even know who's playing. The Los Angeles Lakers play the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll talk about the Lakers, the Kings, and the Warriors in each one of these games because those three teams have the exact same record and are the 8th, 9th, and 10th seeds in the Western Conference. That is a lot of opportunity for one team to maybe get up to 8 and only have to win one game in the play-in tournament, as opposed to finish 9th or 10th, where you have to win 2 games to get to the playoffs. A lot to play for the Lakers. Anthony Davis is probable. LeBron James is questionable. I wouldn't be surprised if he rests tonight, so he's fresh on Sunday if and when they need him. Memphis, one of my favorite stats of the year, has started 51 different starting lineups. Yes, 51. That means a new starting 5 every 1.6 games. It's unbelievable they've won any games, let alone as many as they have. Taylor Jenkins has truly been fantastic. I could see Memphis pushing hard and finding a way to cover this number. Again, a veteran Lakers team maybe takes the foot off the gas here, but it's just hard for me to bet games like this. And we're going to have a handful more of these, and we've already had a couple where you've got one team. It's a good team. They're pushing as hard as they can to win games against a bad team that really can't do much of anything. Now, Memphis is maybe the exception. They are still trying to win. They just can't, given the dearth of talent there. So not really sure what to do here. Again, going to move forward to another game that fits that same profile. The Toronto Raptors, who have nothing to play for and are actively losing games to try to save their draft pick that gets traded to the San Antonio Spurs if it is 7th or higher. The Raptors are in a good spot to keep their pick. Again, it has to be 6 or better. Again, they go to Miami. The Heat, 14.5-point favorites, the total of 218.5. Miami pretty much has to win their last 2 games to have a chance of getting out of the play-in tournament. But as we know, Eric Spoelstra knows how to win games without winning them by margin. Miami has not been good when they're double-digit favorites this year. Let me just double-check what that number is. I have it in the written version of Hoops with Noops. Yes, the Heat 1-4 against the spread. 1-4-1 against the spread is double-digit favorites. 3-6-1 against the spread when they are favored by 8 points or more. So again, it's kind of the same story. They have to win this game, but they don't have to win it by a lot, and it's probably best if they don't and save some powder for Sunday. Not sure what to do here. Oklahoma City Thunder, we continue the pattern. Huge favorites over a Milwaukee team that has effectively shut it down. Milwaukee has a tenuous grasp on the 2 seed, just a game above the Knicks. But we saw Giannis get hurt the other night. He's out for at least a couple weeks. Damian Lillard is out tonight. That really just doesn't leave much left for Milwaukee. Chris Middleton looks just like a shell of himself this year. They're going to be asking a lot of Bobby Portis and guys like that. It's going to be a tough night for Milwaukee that goes to play an Oklahoma City team that should be pushing hard to get for the 1 seed, but I think they know basically they're game behind, but effectively a game and a half because they lose the tiebreaker to both the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. Again, they're a young team. They've played great all year, but maybe this is the time they start to slow down. Happy to just win this game, and again, not by a lot. So we'll move on to yet another Very good team hosting a team that has nothing to play for. The Timberwolves, just a game behind the Nuggets in first, behind the Nuggets for first in the Western Conference, are 14-point favorites with a total of 226 against a Hawks team that have locked in the 10th seed in the East. They can't go up any further. They can't go down. These next two games mean nothing for the Hawks. We see Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu are out. DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella are questionable. That really leaves Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and not much else here for Atlanta. Again, no reason to push hard in this game. I wonder if they even play Trae Young full minutes here. Know that they're working him back from an injury. Minnesota could crush this team, but again, needs to keep sort of their powder dry, their guys fresh for Sunday because they have to win both games if they have a chance to catch up with Denver. The Dallas Mavericks play the Detroit Pistons. This is a game where neither team really has a reason to play for anything. The Pistons have the worst record, continue to be terrible, and a lot of teams have maybe used this opportunity to try to push their young guys, instill some good habits here before the end of the season, see what they've got. Instead, they're shutting everybody down. Cade Cunningham has been listed questionable for about 2 weeks, hasn't played a game. There's not much talent left in Detroit. At the same time, Dallas has to win their next 2 games to even have a chance to move from 5th up to 4th, and they need the Clippers to lose at least one, if not both of those games. Dallas is effectively locked in as the 5 seed here. Kyrie Irving is out. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to rest Luka Doncic here. Just no reason for Dallas to push hard to win this game, let alone win by 13 points. At the same time, how on earth can we bet on the Pistons? Now, we finally have a game that should be fun. 2 teams playing for something. As I mentioned, Golden State in kind of a 3-way tie in the 8-9-10 race for the Western Conference goes against the New Orleans Pelicans, who have just a 1-game lead over the Phoenix Suns for the 6th seed and the last guaranteed playoff spot outside of the play-in tournament. No Brandon Ingram for New Orleans. Golden State's pretty healthy. This should be a really fun game. I come out pretty close to the market here. I have the Warriors as 3-point favorites. I think the Pelicans actually match up well and can kind of bully this team, but the Warriors have been good. Not quite their best at home for whatever reason. They've been better on the road, but the market more close to correct on this one. Should be a great game. Unfortunately, not one that I think you should be betting. 2 more teams with nothing to play for. The Rockets don't own their draft picks, so they have no reason to tank. They can't get into the playoffs, so they have no reason to win. The Portland Trailblazers pretty much set and to have the 5th, maybe 6th worst record in the NBA, so not much reason again for them to tank. And they've been pushing their young guys hard. Scoot Henderson looks better each game. DeAndre Ayton seems to care about basketball again. It's actually kind of a fun team to watch, and they've been covering numbers, but this is pretty small. I mean, the Trailblazers have been covering double-digit spreads, not 6.5. At the same time, I don't know what to do with this Rockets team. Again, nothing to play for. Jalen Green played 19 minutes in the last game. Jabari Smith Jr. played only 26 minutes. Neither was in foul trouble, and I've seen no news on either being injured. Just bizarre. So I can't really trust either team. The Los Angeles Clippers, as I mentioned, they are ahead of the Mavericks for the 4th seed. Big favorites here tonight of 15 against Utah, who's missing their 6 best players, Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, and a few other guys. It's just a mess. This Utah team does really not have any talent left. They were able to win last night somehow, but I don't think they're going to win tonight. At the same time, the Clippers know they pretty much have the 4th seed locked up. Ty Lue knows they just have to win this game. Kawhi Leonard is out. James Harden is questionable. They don't need either to win this game. They need Harden probably to cover this spread, but they don't really care. Again, I can't back Utah on the second night of a back-to-back with basically no good players, and I can't trust the Clippers to cover such a big number. The final game of the night, this is another one that should be very good. The Phoenix Suns, as I mentioned, they're 7th, 1 game behind New Orleans. They have to basically win out to have any chance to avoid the play-in tournament and what could be a disastrous end to a season where they've got a new owner. He spent a lot of money, and they might not even make the playoffs. They go to Sacramento with their 5-point favorites. The Kings lost last night to the Pelicans in a fun game, but a brutal game for them. Should be fatigued. And again, that Sacramento is still struggling without Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk. Monk is the only player on their bench with any sort of offensive skill. He is gone. They have really struggled to score with their second unit. Huerter is great defensively and with the ball in his hands. He allows De'Aaron Fox to play off the ball where he is really devastating and dangerous. Again, tired without those guys. Just a tough spot for Sacramento. Phoenix has been playing good basketball. I make the Suns 4-point favorites here again. So close to market. Can't suggest you bet anything there. But again, we do have 2 games. I got an underdog. Give me the Pacers to beat the Cavaliers straight up. Again, go ahead, take +3 if you want. I like plus 120 much better. I think that's a much more valuable bet over the long term. We're going to do better playing this than we are laying juice with just 3 points. Indiana outright. And the Spurs plus 10.5. I think they can keep it to single digits against a Denver Nuggets team that we know slows games down and salts them away at the end. Happy to take the win regardless of margin. Victor Wembanyama can keep this close. I'm betting on it. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. As I've mentioned a couple times, sign up for FTN. It's a fantastic value, and I'd appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up here, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any thoughts, questions of your own, put them in the comments down below. I'll get back to them ASAP, and best of luck until we talk again, which will be in the postseason.